You're all set.
Step the
All right.
fuck up, Ahmed.
Good start to the recording.
Nice.
Okay, it did start. Fuck me.
It's
never
okay.
mind.
I have basic
Nothing
video
but love.
editing.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier today, oh, by the way, my name is, for those of you who are new, my name is Chris. I am the backend lead, loose title. And earlier today, I posted in Slack kind of the rough schedule or rough agenda for the backend meeting tonight. But that has changed since the leads meeting at 5. So it is no longer accurate. I don't think we're going to be doing much of a Scrum Agile approach this semester. The approach we will be doing is a little bit more free flow, and we'll hopefully have a more concrete sense of how it's going to work very soon. But for the rest of the backend meeting, I kind of wanted to crowdsource how you guys think you would want to approach this. So just to give a little background, last semester was our first COVID semester of Code.iu. Before that, we actually met in person, and it was a completely different club. What we did before COVID was we had sections for Python, web dev, and game dev. All of, it was more of like kind of a loosely like project-based thing / tutorial thing. Then we wanted to do a project-based approach with the website. At least backend kind of fumbled through it last semester, and as the lead, I take responsibility for that. So I wanted to, so instead of me deciding things and then changing my mind, I thought we could all decide something and then collectively change our minds in the future about it. So first question, and you guys could, I don't know, are you guys familiar with Zoom reactions? All right, so, hey, what up? Okay, so for the 3 of you, I think, who were in backend last semester, we'll get to everybody right after this, but do you guys want to stick to Flask and how we've been doing it, or do you guys want to start from scratch with backends? Thumbs up for from scratch, and heart for sticking with what we do.
Wait, did you want to change like the language?
I was wondering about that.
I saw you said Node, so.
Okay, yeah.
Wondering.
So a lot of people, so the real point of that question was that at least for web development, there are a bunch of different frameworks to use, but for web development, NodeJS, which is built using JavaScript, is kind of, it's not even kind of, it's basically
Superior.
like, what?
Superior.
Yeah, and more widely used.
Yeah.
And last semester we tried using Python with a framework called Flask. Now, the reason we did that was because there are a lot of beginners here, and Python is very beginner friendly, right? However, after learning how to use Node.js over winter break, I realized that for web development, it is actually more difficult to accomplish what you want to do compared to using JavaScript. Now, that the only problem with that is that means that some of you will have to kind of learn as we go about how to use JavaScript. JavaScript is not Java. There are lots of jokes on the internet about that. But where they are alike is that both of them use a C-like syntax, whereas Python uses indentations to group blocks of code. So personally, I would be a lot more comfortable starting from scratch using it. Yeah, exactly. Well, Java makes you need coffee. That's what I found. But in my opinion, I think that if we started from scratch with Node, we would actually be able to have like a minimum viable product quicker than if everyone tried to learn the Flask framework. But here is where I'll open it up for discussion. Now that you've heard me talk for like 7 straight minutes.
To add to that, a lot of like beginner style internships will ask if you can like do Node stuff. Nobody has given a shit that the fact that I know Flask or even Django. They were like, do you know Node and like React?
I made my first
Or
web
Vue.
app in Django, and it literally didn't matter, apparently. Not that it didn't matter, but like
Wait, what do you mean?
Like it didn't matter that I used Django. No one cared that I knew how to use Django, is what I'm saying.
Oh, but for like a specific internship, because I applied to like 3 different ones, and like the first question was, can you use Node? And I was like, no, cannot.
Yeah, I mean, if you know that, it's going to be a lot more useful than Flask or Django.
Yeah, especially.
Noah, good. Thank you for that. I agree, but you know that. Oh, anyone else?
Some
opinions?
Python, but I still think that like doing it with JavaScript would be better.
Oh shit! Sorry, Noah. I thought a video was playing in the background. I didn't even realize you were talking. You're so quiet.
Can you say it maybe one more time, Noah?
Yeah.
Sorry, is it better now?
5% better.
Okay. I was just reiterating pretty much what I typed. Yeah, it's not that big. Sorry,
Okay, yeah.
I'll get the mic situation figured out.
Oh, you're good now.
This is perfect. This is perfect.
Usually I have a headset, but I'm eating dinner right now, so I'm on a different laptop.
Got you. Okay. Okay. Well, so anyone else have any beef with moving over to Node?
I'd like to learn Node personally, because you just said it's current, right?
What's up? Sorry.
You just said that Node is like what is dominant
standard
in backend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be most useful for me and probably everybody else to get used to.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a steeper learning curve at the very beginning, but once you get what is once you kind of know a few key statements and functions, it'll expedite the whole process in the future. It's not that we have, if we wanted to, we could still have Python scripts in the background. They just wouldn't be the backbone of the website. Okay, so I think gavel coming down, so we're gonna switch to Node.
Also, maybe even HackerRank has some JavaScript stuff.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. We're trying to use HackerRank this semester.
Yeah.
So one thing.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, never mind.
One thing that you guys can do, but before next meeting, is go to HackerRank if you're not super familiar with JavaScript, or even just YouTube. Sorry, Geet. And look up like JavaScript tutorials, kind of get familiar with the syntax, do a couple basic projects or just like a basic like script or something like that. Once you get it, it's not so bad. It's just intimidating at first, and I know because it took me like a year and a half to finally sit down and learn JavaScript. But that's just because I was not mentally prepared. Anyway, rambling. Let's see what else. So that was Node versus Flask. Right. Last thing about Node is that I'm pretty sure Zach will actually be happy that we're doing this, because I know he wasn't the biggest proponent of Flask. Anyway,
what's the front end coding in?
HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So it'll also put us more in line with what they're doing.
Perfect.
I think they were gonna use something with JS.
Yeah, I mean, front end has a lot of JS stuff. If you really want to get into it, you could also look at the JavaScript documentation if you need help. That goes through throughout the semester. Okay, moving on, because I feel like we've kind of established that. What are some features you guys might like to see on the site? This is the actual fun part. Before we start coding, is we're talking about what we want to code. So the ideas, main ideas that we have so far are accounts for club members, and a YouTube API to dynamically post our YouTube videos of these recordings on the website.
We're going to have a way to store member logins to kind of see, one, how to learn it, and two, each person can maybe see like their name when they jump in, when they sign on.
Yeah. The most basic way to possibly do that is using a text file. I am not even joking. Just like to have different member information in like a text file or a CSV file. But the next step up, in my opinion, for something of this small of a scale would be to use MongoDB. But we don't have to get into that right now. MongoDB essentially is just a more, it's a less bulky database structure than.
There's a place to store all the member kind of like the login information for each person.
Yeah.
Does anybody else want to implement anything? Mini Facebook, maybe?
We can add like micro blogging, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like little blog posts, maybe.
Yeah.
And the thing is, all that, it goes through some sort of a database structure. So
and then it's like stored, like who posted it. You can kind of see where that
Mhm.
member is tied to, what their blog posts are tied on the back end. That could be really cool to kind of learn how to track all that information, how to present it to the front end people so they can kind of take it
Well,
off.
the front end people would need that to display who posted it and to display like the contents of the post.
That's really cool.
Also, we should, like, once we're done, I know this is super early, but probably not use the main passwords that we use for like our main accounts, just in case if we get compromised.
Yeah,
I mean, that won't happen, but
so see, I'd used Django before as a web dev framework, and then last semester we moved to Flask, which I kind of had to learn as I went. But this time, I can actually tell you guys, useful information because I know it better. Let's see. So just so in the few minutes we have left, I'll share my screen. And what do I want to show you? So I guess just a real basic thing, something that you can do. So here, I have a little, you can tell I don't do front end.
I like the white. It's very modern and sleek. That's what you meant for, right? Yeah.
This is how I want the
And
next
the delete
iOS
being
to
in
be.
red.
Yeah, exactly. Delete is red. Look at dude, look at the consistency and the white space of all of this. The visual
That's actually
hierarchy.
neat.
No, it sucks. So here I have a whole thing set up on my Raspberry Pi using Node.js and MongoDB. MongoDB stores these light entries, and I can use it with. This is beyond the club scope.
Oh my God, are you gonna do what I think you're gonna do?
Keep an eye.
Whoa!
Nice.
I'm about to make my own website right now.
Yeah, so this is all working through a backend with MongoDB, and let's see if I remember. When I was drunk on Saturday night, I couldn't remember any of this. So,
Chris, can you give us access to turn on your lights at like midnight?
well, okay. So the thing that I wanted to talk about, if we had time, was actually giving all of you guys. I have a spare Raspberry Pi that I kind of want to give you guys access to. But I need to. That's some sysadmin stuff that I need to figure out.
What's a 5-second summary of what a Raspberry Pi is?
A 5-second summary of what a Raspberry Pi
A mini
is.
computer.
It's what's called a microprocessor. So this is a computer. It's like one of the cheapest computers you can get, but this model was less than $75. 4 gigabytes of RAM. The storage is an SD card, and you can boot up a bunch of different OSs to it with like just switching out the SD card. So what I have running right here in this command prompt is my other Raspberry Pi, my main one, my main squeeze right here.
Chris is doing everything. He's got a guitar. He's got microphones.
Yeah. I completely forgot my train of thought.
You were gonna say
You're
that.
telling us about your Raspberry Pi.
What did I
You were
point?
gonna say that you can store your website on there, so you don't have to go to, like, for example, like a server farm. That could be your server to sign on to when you're trying to access a website, right?
Yeah,
Wait, so like a hard key?
a hard key. Can you elaborate?
Like a hardware key to like log in instead of I don't know. Like a hardware key, dude. Like you can plug it in and then log in instead of having to use a password.
That's like a Google thing, which, by the way, no one get the Google touch login security thing. It sucks. Anyway, is this the right one? I'm sorry, my whole setup right now is very unorganized. But just last thing, go to root, and then, so this is currently running Linux server, I think is what I was going to say. So Linux server has no GUI, and it's just completely terminal based.
Sorry to cut you off, Chris. It's like 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send everyone back to the main room so we can just kind of like end it together. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Oh wait, last thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the lights page. This is using jQuery, which we would probably be responsible for, and then this is the backend that talks to MongoDB, which is what I'm using, and I can show. I can elaborate more on what all is going on next week, but yeah. So for backend for next week, just kind of look into JavaScript. Figure out what Node.js is. There are tons of YouTube summary videos about it. And with that, that's it for me.
Thanks.
Stuff.